Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Cinema Review. On this week's episode, we're covering from 1983, Strange Brew. So this is one that came off the poll on Facebook. You guys went over there and voted on it. One of the guys that voted on it, Grandmaster B or Grandfather B, or he goes by a couple of different names. We did a little call with him in the beginning of this to ask him why it's one of his favorite movies and just what he thought of it. And also, we have our old buddy from high school, for me, Tim, the Colonel, we call him. Known him for a long time. Matt and Zap go way back with the Colonel. So he came in, sat down with us. We had a good time talking about this movie, Strange Brew, like I said, 1983. So we hope you enjoy it. Speaking of which, if you're enjoying the show, leave that 5-star rating. Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever you're at, leave that rating. Apple, you can leave us a written review. Really helps us out, help the show grow. That's what we're trying to do. And sit back, relax, and enjoy from 1983, Strange Brew. Yeah, we're here with Matt's buddy Grandmaster B, is it?
Yeah, it's a Grand Flash B.
Ghostbuster B.
Ghostbuster B.
Grandmaster B, yep.
Yeah.
How's it going, man? We're talking about Strange Brew. So this is a movie that you picked on the poll, and you said it's one you grew up with?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me of, like I said, some of your older movies, those lanes of Great Outdoors, Better Off Dead,
Canadian Great Outdoors,
in that ballpark, that era when you're a single age kid and you're at camp and kids are sort of talking about movies, and it's exactly as they said it was going to be. You're going to watch a guy drink a beer, so much beer that he can pee on a fire and have it go out,
put it out,
or just able to drink his way out of a whole, like, I don't even know if those are kegs, like a vat or whatever.
I call it a vat.
A vat of beer.
20,000 gallons makes a vat.
Is that what it is?
That's a vat.
And he made it out of a vat.
Yeah. I don't know if you can buy those commercially.
Head. I mean, what's not to like,
Right.
So was that Yosemite Sam or Mel Blanc having sex with their mom?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the voice of Bug Bunny. It was Mel. Is it Mel Blanc or Mel Blanc?
So
here we go again.
It's Mel Blanc.
It was Mel Blanc, the voice. I can't say that was Mel Blanc, the actual person.
No,
that's the scene when he walks in and sees them having sex. That's when you can see it's Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis,
right?
Because they both look at the camera.
Gotcha. So Grandmaster B, you said you had this on. We were talking earlier. You said you had this on Beta Max?
I mean, like I said, my dad stands by the fact that was a superior machine. He's probably right from what the review said, but again, that company, whatever, was late to market, and eventually 5 years later.
That's what you guys had over there in Western PA, out in the Pittsburgh area. Here in Central PA, we had VHS by then. Well, I believe.
Yeah, right. VHS that kind of took over, but like he was saying about Beta being better, that was one thing I wanted to touch on. So Beta was Sony backed, and it was a better technology than VHS, but Sony was backing it. Didn't win that format war, but later on, a couple years back, that Blu-ray HD DVD battle they had, Sony made sure they threw all kinds of money out there, tied up the studios, and won that battle. But Betamax is one people forget about. I think when we talk about these old movies, you watch them back in the day, you don't very often hear somebody say, I had it on Betamax, because it's kind of a lesser known format, I guess you'd say.
So Soupmaster B, did you ever have like Laserdisc or anything like that? Was that big in Western PA or?
No, I mean, we had, obviously the DVD came, in the previous decades or the decades to follow, but no, I mean, I don't know, like what made me think of this movie? Again, it's a foreign film. They're talking different.
Foreign film. We have never heard it. Yeah, mention that. You're right. It's actually a foreign film. Yeah. For
a whole summer, we were telling each other to take off, calling each other hosers and that kind of stuff. And, we had no idea that, by the next year we'd be saying other stuff at camp or whatever. So I thought it was funny.
Oh, go ahead.
And it's deceptively clever, too. I didn't know until 11th grade English that it was based on a Shakespeare play. Like, holy shit. Like, I'm in class and I'm like...
What was Hamlet, right? Or
yeah, Hamlet.
Yeah, I had no idea. And I'm so glad I didn't raise my hand and be like, in high school, calling out Strange Brew.
So maybe in high school they should start playing this for kids. Like, this is Strange Brew. It's related to,
yeah.
With the families and everything.
It's educational, yeah. Well, man, Grandmaster B, we appreciate you listening and contributing to the poll and everything else like that. And continue
It's been fun.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it, man. And when you guys interact and stuff, it makes us want to do this more. Actually, speaking of that, I know you hear like we have a mailbag, and I know you gave me a mailbag item one time on I think it was about the Coming to America with the Steinfeld and the workout videos. I think you were the one.
It was Body by Jake, I think. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I had another one real quick before we get into this movie here. It was from our lawyer, JW. We were talking about in Pulp Fiction. He was saying how Tarantino was a huge Jean-Luc
Godard.
Jean-Luc Godard. He was a French New Wave director. And he was saying how he kind of got his filming style and all that from those guys, those French New Wave filmmakers. They had a lot of jump cuts and non-linear editing, he was saying. And that A Band Apart, that one movie that, or I should say the dance that Travolta and Uma Thurman did.
Yeah.
It was from a movie called A Band Apart where they got that. Well, that's actually what I think his production company was called, A Band Apart. And it was named after that. So, yeah, cool fun facts like that. When you listeners and people that listen to the podcast give us stuff like that, we think that's pretty cool. We put it in the mailbag and like to bring it up. So continue to definitely contribute, man.
Yeah, but Scoopmaster B, like anytime you have something fun or anything you want to like hit us up with, man, just let us know. We'll give you a holler.
I'm a wealth of worthless knowledge. Yep. So, all right, I'll be on there.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks again.
Right. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
Yep, later.
Later.
Hey, this is Dave.
Matt.
And Zap.
And welcome to the Vintage Cinema Review,
where every week we review some of our favorite films from the past.
Hey, there ain't no late fees here.
Silence is golden. And be kind. Rewind.
Hey, Hoser. What you got in the old video there, eh?
Sounds like we got a Canadian invasion.
Yeah, we got a special guest. Who's on the V.C.R. tonight? What are you loading up there?
Strange Brew is going to be the movie today.
Yeah, we got a guest in the house. Old Timmy from high school. How's it going, Tim?
All right.
We'll call him the Colonel. The Colonel. You probably heard us talk about the Colonel on previous episodes, and we go. These guys go way back with the Colonel.
You said Colonel. It's like something like KFC.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
Yeah,
it's
right.
good food.
You know, I was just thinking about this the other day, Tim. This is, if I did the math correctly, this is our 40-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's probably about right.
This is our 40-year.
What do you mean 40-year? Like what?
Was it T-ball or was it the pool first?
It was the pool.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, High Spire Pool, 40 years ago.
Wait, what's the math? Quick math.
So let's go with this. I know that I met Tim and his little brother Chris the summer between second grade and third grade. It's when I got my first pool pass.
Oh.
So if I did my math correctly, that would have been 1983.
Damn.
40 years.
Just in time for this movie to come out.
Just in time.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you guys probably saw it back
whoa,
then.
what a coincidence.
Yeah.
I think not.
That's right.
Yeah. So for those of you that listened to the origin story, which we hope you did, that was your bedroom, Tim, correct?
With the Dustbuster.
With the Dustbuster,
Yep.
where Matt was. That was a funny story.
Rare.
I think it was more like it was just like.
I just wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You were so pissed, dude. So pissed. Oh, my God.
Was that the same night as the party that got shut down?
No, my God, that was in high school,
No, dude,
man.
we're talking grade school.
Was it that much before that?
Yes, we're talking like maybe fifth, sixth grade.
It was the three of us and Joe Stretch.
I'll take your word for it. I don't think I even had a Dustbuster then. Whatever.
It was gray, or it was like a weird grayish color.
Oh, it was old and beat, the one that I had up there.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that was a cool story. I know a lot of people mentioned how funny that one was on that episode. So anyway, it was
long story short, though, like all four of us went to high school together.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Tim in ninth grade. These guys knew him before that, and we all graduated together. So
I met the Colonel in kindergarten. Then we got second grade.
And ninth.
Then we go to ninth grade.
Yeah, met him in religion class.
We're all fighting over Tim here. Like,
So that puts us at our 42-year anniversary.
Yeah.
I knew him before you knew him.
Yeah, you guys got years on me.
You win, Matt. Good for you.
Yeah.
Wiener.
So yeah, Strange Brew, 1983, and this one was rated PG, and running time on this was 90 minutes. Release date on this, August 26, 1983, and this one was directed by Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, written by Rick Moranis, Dave Thomas, and Steve Desjardins, based on the Bob and Doug McKenzie characters that are Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas from the SCTV show.
Now, that had to have been a lot of work. Like, he's like trying to start up at Wendy's, and all of a sudden he's like trying to do like these movies and stuff. That's insane.
I always thought about that. I mean, he really had, but you saw his acting chops on the Wendy's commercials too. So you see where he got it from.
Yeah. It might not be the same guy. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Produced by Louis M. Silverstein, And budget on this, $4 million. Box office, you guys want to take a guess?
6.
I already know the answer.
Oh, you do know it?
I also know the answer.
Okay, well then I'll throw it out there. $8.5 million.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yep,
No?
the juice is worth the squeeze.
For sure. So the filming locations on this, most of it was shot in Toronto, Scarborough.
Really?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
I'm shocked.
Kitchener, Hamilton, Ontario, and Prince George, British Columbia. So yeah, that's pretty much it for location, budget, all that good stuff. So I'll pass it over to Zap for the cast.
All right. So
You probably don't need more than like 3 cast members. Nobody knows who any of these people are.
you might be surprised. Some of these people might have gone on to have illustrious careers in Canada.
We have the founder of Wendy's.
Canadian Public Television.
Yeah, true.
So Dave Thomas, not the founder of Wendy's.
That is not. Is that proven?
Certainly not the founder of Wendy's.
We don't know that.
Probably have to check the mailbag.
Yes.
As Doug McKenzie, Rick Moranis as Bob McKenzie, Max von Sydow as Brewmeister Smith, Lynn Griffin as Pam Elsinore, Angus McKines as John Rosie LaRose, Paul Dooley as Claude Elsinore, Brian McConaughey as Ted, Mel Blanc as the voice of Bob and Doug's father.
Is that Mel Blanc?
Mel Blanc.
What did I say?
No, he was making a joke. He says that Mel Blanc.
Did I not say Mel Blanc?
You said Mel Blanc.
Mel Blanc.
I thought
It
he
is
was
Mel
thinking
Blanc.
of sauces.
I thought it was. I thought it was
Mel
Fran-
Blanc.
I thought it was Mel Blanc.
I was
thought it
trying to be
Mel
French
Blanc.
Canadian. Like
That's what I thought.
Isn't it Mel Blanc?
Oh, Mel Blanc. I get what you're saying.
Oh.
Making a
I thought
joke.
that, no, not
sorry.
no.
You had me confused for a minute there.
Yes.
I get confused easily. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Tom Harvey as the inspector, Douglas Campbell as Henry Green,
Wait, who was Henry Green?
Henry Green was the guy.
Oh, he was the fat guy.
Correct. He was Pam's right hand.
Right.
Len Donjeff as Jack Hawkland, and Buddy the dog as Hosehead.
Wait, who was Jack Hawkland?
Jack Hawkland was, I want to say, was one of the guys at the hospital. Like, he might have been the guy that operated the booth.
That Tom Harvey, was he trying to think.
Tom Harvey.
Yeah, I'm thinking. No, never mind.
So that was the old man inspector.
Yeah.
So that's the guy that came around, and so what's his name? Claude Elsinore is the said to this guy, "Oh, well, I have a photographic memory."
Oh, okay.
It's that old head with the glasses, the hat, the fedora that's walking around like again.
I'm thinking of the
trench coat.
I'm thinking of the newer actor, the name Tom Hardy. I was
Oh,
thinking of the
no,
name. I was
yeah.
like, I know that name from somewhere, but I don't know that.
I don't even
from
think he was
somewhere.
born yet.
Pretty sure he wasn't.
I got a fun fact on the Max von Sydow. Do you know one of the major roles that he played? And I didn't know till today. I would have never guessed it.
The original Dune.
I was also this many days old when I
When you
found this out.
The original Dune, was he in that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that one of them? But no, he was Ming the Merciless.
also true.
Yeah, I
And
didn't.
Flash Gordon.
I would have never guessed
Wow.
that. Looking
Like
at
the
it.
original Flash Gordon?
Is there another one?
I don't know.
Well, wasn't there one in the 50s?
Well,
Wasn't it a
would've been-
TV show first?
Yeah.
You're talking about the movie.
the movie,
80s
Flash
movie.
Gordon, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the movie Flash Gordon.
Yeah. It was no, that was there one with Dolph Lundgren in it or no?
No, man, that was He-Man.
He-Man. That's right. That's right.
No, that was Rocky 5.
That's right.
1000.
He was the Russian in there.
He was Rocky 4.
Yeah, Rocky IV.
That's whatever Rocky it was. I
just watched that again the other
Very
day.
good movie. I don't know. Ooh.
So, Matt, you got a brief synopsis of
Yeah,
Strange
this
Brew?
is the brief synopsis of Strange Brew. 2 slackers, Doug and Bob McKenzie, get a job at the Elsinore Brewery. However, strange things are afoot at the brewery. The previous owner has just died under mysterious circumstances, and his brother is trying to take over the company. In addition, the chief brewer is also a doctor at the local insane asylum and is testing the beer on the patients. Let's see what happens.
Good synopsis. Very brief.
Fine synopsis.
That was the only synopsis I could find. Actually, there is if you guys here, look. So look, check this out. It says right here the synopsis.
Holy crap.
But that's all I could find on the interweb there.
That's far too much synopsis.
Yeah.
That's not brief or pretty much a synopsis at all.
Not at all.
Not a bit.
all.
Can we
go ahead.
talk again about these famous actors and which one of these went on to do things?
All of them, obviously. Especially Hosehead the dog.
Yeah, well,
Oh, was he in stuff? Hosehead.
Yeah, he went on to be
I think it was.
He became the state animal for ungoverned Quebec.
No, I think he was in Benji the Return. Maybe they cut his hair.
Yeah.
He was in what are there some dog movies? Dog Gone. It's a Disney movie.
Air Bud.
All dogs go to heaven.
There he was in that one.
Animated.
But they went from black labs to golden retrievers or something for all those.
Yeah.
The black lab became less popular. I just, as you're going through those names, you think about Rick Moranis. Okay, everybody knows who he is. Dave Thomas, probably less so, but they're the two main characters. Max von Sydow, I don't think you can avoid.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy that was 16 Candles? The dad.
Same dude.
Oh, that's the same guy.
Was that Jose?
So, yeah, I'm sorry. That was Paul Dooley. That was your question. Yep.
Oh, I thought he was saying Jose too, Matt.
Oh, Jose, yeah, the dog.
The Jose returns.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, I guess it's time to go through this movie a little bit.
Before we get here, I mean, this is an old as shit movie, right? I mean, old as hell.
82.
Well, I mean, 83. It's old for us.
So that's
I don't
40
know if
years.
it's gone with the wind or anything.
Certainly not. Now,
How's that old for us?
Well,
That was in our lifetime. I wouldn't consider it an
but
old
we
movie.
were young kids when it came out.
Yes, yeah.
'Cause I got to be honest, I thought this movie, I knew these guys from a commercial, the Molson, and I just asked him before I was like, did they do like a beer commercial or something like that? And that's what I remember them from. I don't remember this movie at all.
I know both actors were on SCTV, which was
John Candy and all them.
Yes, yes.
Second City or whatever. Yeah.
so did these guys on SCTV, did they do a skit that was not unlike Wayne's World?
Who?
Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis.
These two in particular. Yeah, they did these characters.
Again, like a Wayne's World thing where they just sat and they talked about the Great White North or whatever.
So they did, and I only remembered seeing a couple, and so I kind of went back to rewatch, and it was interesting to rewatch a couple of the old skits. And they talked about this. They were on Letterman talking about it. They had done one just as filler or something, just take up time in the show. And then after that, the network came to them because in Canada, apparently, the show runs 2 minutes longer than it does in the States because the commercial requirements aren't as long up there.
Bastards.
So they went back to these guys because Canada, much like a lot of places in Europe with all the restrictions on keeping culture within the country, requires that X percentage of programming shown on Canadian TV must be domestically produced, must feature Canadian actors, all that shit.
God bless you, Canada.
So, because of those 2 minutes, they saw an opportunity. Let's fill these 2 stupid minutes with Bob and Doug McKenzie. So they asked them if they could just go on and improv something every time. So for 2 minutes every episode, they went on and filled it with this in Canada.
Well, there it is. Look what I learned today.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where they got like Super Party Animal. His name is Doug McKenzie. Or who was that?
Spuds McKenzie. Yeah, the Bud Light commercial.
Is that where the Bud Light got it off of? Like
Maybe.
the McKenzie brothers?
That was later 80s, yeah.
That was right around
early
85?
90s?
No, that was 85, 86 kind of, wasn't it?
I don't know. I drank away a lot of those brain cells.
He's a super party animal.
So these guys were drinking Molson Canadian.
They were doing commercials for Molson Canadian, that's for sure.
So they
That's what I remember them from.
with that, they weren't pushing Bud.
They were drinking every Canadian beer.
But was it in the movie? I think in the movie, not on the SCTV, that opening scene where they're sitting there, which is the same scene that they use for all the SCTV bits. There was one case of Budweiser hiding in all the other Canadian beers.
How about that?
Yeah, that's wild.
I saw it right off.
Yeah, I think like the party animal Spuds McKenzie was kind of
like a play on that.
like a play on that. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a mailbag thing. I don't know if anybody has that.
But looking back, I don't remember this movie at all. I watched it a couple months ago, and I just rewatched it part yesterday, part today. I don't remember any of this.
You don't remember like, if you want to get free beer,
I think I remember
put
more.
like a baby mouse in the opening,
I remember more people talking about it and just the lingo from it, the hoser and this and that. But I don't remember seeing it.
Well, it was kind of a one hit. I mean, when you talk about these guys were only popular really in Canada to begin with. SCTV was no, but even SCTV, it's not like it was Saturday Night Live or anything.
Right.
but it was their Saturday Night Live pretty much.
For who? Chicago?
No, for
Canada?
For Canada.
The whole show isn't Canadian.
Yeah, I think Juice would know more on this.
Oh, he does. Yeah, because he was up in Niagara Falls. Well, close to.
Well, yeah, close to Canada. I think pretty much the upper New York state's pretty much Canada. They think they cut.
Is that how that works?
Yeah. They're not like real like United States.
This geography lesson brought to you by Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not much better, so I can't bust too
I'm
much.
just saying, upstate New York is pretty much Canada.
Yeah.
Let's be
For all
real.
intent and purpose.
They could take it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? I got you. Well, why don't we go through the movie a little bit, I guess.
Sure,
Yeah.
a little bit. So, I mean, these get detailed, so brace yourself.
Yeah.
One can already expect what they're getting into with this movie when it begins with the MGM lion belching instead of growling. We're introduced to Bob and Doug McKenzie, who, after attempting to start the lion by cranking its tail, take their seats on the couch to welcome us to a screening of their movie. After a brief explanation of the difference between television and a movie, and a zoom out of the map now illustrating more than just the Great White North, all hosers from Russia, Hawaii, and England are welcomed to the movie.
Yeah.
See, that whole part, I kind of forgot the beginning part of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That they could have done without that. In the whole.
I thought, and didn't you say you enjoyed the opening portion of the movie more? We were talking about
really?
this earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's, I don't know, you guys do your fun facts and stuff, but
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That whole first scene or that whole first third of the movie was really rewritten by them, or it was the only part that they wrote that was actually retained. The later stuff was all more serious. You get to a certain point in that movie and it becomes more acty and less space ballsy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that whole opening sequence. But I thought that I loved the fleshy-headed mutant and the 2051.
The year is 2051, eh?
Of course.
It was great.
Oh, Statue of Liberty, eh?
Yeah. To me, that was a funny part in the
I
beginning.
mean, it's a good space outfit with the Star Trek shirt and the underwear over the pants. And
Was that underwear or a jock strap?
That was a jock strap.
I thought it was rolled over underwear, like, scrunched up, like almost you got a wedgie, but you might be right.
I agree with Zap on the.
It's probably a hockey jock strap.
It looked
yeah.
cuppy.
Well, he had the green hockey helmet,
Yeah.
jock strap. Yeah, that was good. What van was that? What year was that?
That was a
van?
GMC. I don't know what year.
That was fantastic.
I don't have it in the fun facts, but I know it was
I
a
was
GMC.
looking for that.
It was no A-team van, but it was good.
It was
It
close.
was nice. It was nice.
But actually, that in the beginning too, you referenced them having a TV show. They do a thing where like we're on TV now. We're in the movie where like zooms in and zooms out
Yeah.
when they're showing the map and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So I just like the simplicity when they explain the difference between a movie and television.
Yeah.
This is television, and it's just a clip of them, the
Right.
same scene, but
Clipped
surrounded
down.
by a television.
Right.
It
This
even
is a
got
movie.
it even
And
got
it-
grainier when they went to the.
Yeah, and it takes
Yeah.
the television away.
I also enjoyed the part with the moss. Like if you,
Yeah, that's right.
it's
So
like if
while
you've seen a part, like you already know, eh?
That's
you can
right.
like just let them out, eh? And the moss like gather around, and it's pretty cool, eh?
Yep. In fact, while Bob sets up the projector screen, Doug gives us his recommendations on how to wreck a movie, just as Matt had mentioned. With
Yeah.
moths in a jar. When you get to that part that you already know, just open up the moths and they'll fly to the screen and cloud the screen. You can demand your money back then.
You're right.
Yeah, they're always about getting their money back.
Sure.
They have
Everything.
tons of tricks.
Yeah.
Well, please note that this movie was shot in 3B. That's three
That's 3
beers.
beers.
And
Three
looks
beers.
good.
But he only had 2 beers.
How about?
Yeah, what? Yeah, what sense does that make?
Yeah.
Wait a second. I think you're onto
The
something.
joys
Take
of the
off.
simple humor of this movie.
Right.
So we're now ready for their movie. Sit back, get some corn, and it's movie time.
What I enjoyed also like what's with Canadians and the donut thing. Like I didn't know that was a thing until I watched this movie again. I forgot that maybe the first time I watched it.
Which were they talking donuts at the beginning?
Well, no,
I didn't think the donuts showed up until it was time to
It's
bribe
almost time-
It's all right.
No, but like no, in the very beginning when they go to the house, like their house,
Just
they have
ease into it. Matt flash forwards. and
No,
then
I
flash
want to.
back.
I want to keep
flash-
on with the donuts.
no, but I'm just saying there's donuts everywhere.
Oh, they were talking about donuts when they went back to the house. That's right.
Yes, don't doubt me with my donuts.
It is so. Having gone back and watched a bunch of the SCTV skits, they probably occupied 15 to 20% of this movie rehashing bits they had already done on SCTV.
Sure.
They did a 2-minute, one of those 2-minute filler segments was entirely about donuts.
Okay.
And the problem with parking when there's 20 tables at the donut place in Canada, but only 8 parking spaces outside.
And I think that
Which
was
is also where he got all his parking tickets. Then later he mentions to the cop that he's got a bunch of parking tickets he needs overturned.
that was brought up by somebody when they were in the movie theater. They're like, they already did this before.
Yeah.
I want my money back. Yeah,
I got you.
donuts are delicious though.
They are good.
But Dunkin' Donuts no longer makes the peanut butter cream filled around here.
I did not
And
know
having
that.
moved all over the country, I don't know if it was a favorite donut of yours. It was the only donut I would eat.
No, I'm a glazed guy.
My boy likes them too, and went to anytime we come back to Pennsylvania, we'd always get the peanut butter cream filled donut. Gone. Dunkin' Donuts took it off the menu. Why?
Because they heard you liked them.
Peanut butter allergies.
Is that why?
Peanut allergies. So you can still go to your friend Scott Carnes and get peanut butter cream filled donuts.
Are they as good?
I don't know. I haven't tried.
Carnes has good
I know
donut.
it was
Yeah,
Carnes. I did
Carnes
pick
has
some
good
up from
donut.
Carnes. The boys said they were good. I didn't try
Yeah.
one. And the filling station over there in Palmyra sells them fresh too.
Peanut butter filled.
I think actually Carnes is better than Dunkin'.
They do make some good looking donuts. I
Yeah.
just don't eat a lot of donuts anymore.
There's also one my kids like is the duck donuts. Actually, they come out fresh. Like they like dip them right there, and then you design them or do whatever.
I was
like,
told not to go in there because I'd like the donuts, but I'd be outraged at the prices, and I'm not.
way
Don't want to pay
overpriced.
that much for a donut.
Thank you, whomever told you that.
Yeah.
wow.
And to save you save the clerks the harassment.
Yeah,
I think it's like $3 something a donut.
Yeah,
I would have just turned around. I wouldn't have
they're
given
not
them a
cheap.
hard. They're not setting the prices. The owner's setting the prices. The clerk don't care.
That's
Well, they
fair.
said that's at a crumble place now. Did you guys hear about that in Mechanicsburg? It's like some sort of crumble cookie.
No.
But the cookies are the size of like this, like putting your two hands together.
So an Oreo. It's the size of an Oreo.
size of an Oreo, and they're like 4 something a donut or 4 something.
You
a
know,
cookie.
this is an audio medium, not a visual medium.
Yeah,
You
I'm letting
can't show-
but I'm letting everybody know exactly by putting my fat fingers together.
how big it is.
Yes.
So what about the Oreo cookie?
No, nothing about the Oreo cookie. It's the crumble cookie. They sell them for $4.69 a cookie, and they're the size of like your hand, like the middle of your hand.
Are they any good? Did you
I don't
try
know.
one?
Somebody said they're awesome. I have not tried them because I'm not paying $4.69 for a crumble cookie.
That's a bit much.
Unless your crumble cookie is listening and they like our show, then please, I enjoy your cookie.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. I love you.
All right. So where are we at?
Donuts. It had something to do with
So it
donuts.
started with
So
that.
they went back to the house, yeah?
Yes.
Oh,
eh?
shit. Okay, let's go.
Donuts, eh?
We should just go through this. So let's see. He was looking for a place to build a city for his children. Lands his van, which was
van is
flying around
awesome.
on strings. Bob's a one-man force. Fleshy-headed mutant. Let's see. Back in the studio, the movie stops. As everybody had mentioned, the movie wrecks. The crowd gets upset. They want to demand their money back. Let's see. Yes, because this is all occurring in real time, and the audience is watching, and the audience is pissed, and et cetera, et cetera. It's
Yeah, I
something
don't
that
wanna
already
watch this
happened
shit.
before.
Yeah, it's meta. It's movie within the movie.
Nimbly evading the crowd, Bob and Doug make their way home. And now the official credits of Strange Brew the movie.
Yeah,
Start.
it took like three minutes.
What was that theme song they were playing? That was like
Strange Brew.
Dave Thomas's brother. I think they said that.
Was
Ian
it?
Thomas? Yeah, that was credited with that song or whatever. Because I saw the name on there and I looked it up. I'm pretty sure it was his
It wasn't
brother.
a very good
Which
song.
which song are we talking
The
about?
Strange,
Strange
Brew.
Brew.
The song that's playing in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
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 It was something
What
he
did I
made
say?
up in his basement.
I
like,
think
in
you're
5
right.
minutes.
I think it was
Yeah.
Dave Thomas's brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote a
that.
couple songs for the movie or something.
And there was some
Not a great soundtrack.
there was some connection to Rush. Yeah.
Not a great soundtrack.
Well, I didn't hear the whole
I
soundtrack.
think there might have been two songs.
Hey, they were on a shoestring budget.
Well, wasn't there some connection to Rush with this movie or no? I didn't hear any Rush songs. What was there?
No,
Is that just
they-
because Rush is Canadian? Is that why you like
No,
threw
there
that
was,
together?
there was a connection.
They did do a session with Geddy Lee.
Maybe that's
Not in
what
the
it was.
movie, and I don't think he contributed to the movie or any of the music, but they
Okay.
did do a comedy
On one of their
session,
albums or
yeah,
something?
with
Okay.
Geddy Lee.
That's what it was. then.
So they get home, they enter the kitchen, they have some donuts, crack some beers,
See?
give a
Donuts.
beer to the dog, whose name is Hosehead.
Hose head.
This is this huge black dog with white stripes, running lengthwise down its back.
Yeah,
See, I didn't even notice
looks
those stripes
skunky.
the first time.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were
yeah.
there. Okay. I didn't even catch
How
that.
did you not notice it looked like
I-
a giant skunk?
I don't know. I just didn't. The second time around, I saw him when he was flying and stuff. I caught it.
That was a gnarly looking dog, man.
Dogs can't fly, Dave.
I know.
Only in this
Well,
movie.
in the movie they
It's a
can, yeah.
movie.
Only in Canada.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, these guys run out of beers. Their dad wants a beer.
Well, they didn't run out. They still had beer when Dad wanted a beer.
They had 3 beers. They took Hosehead's beer and dumped it into the
Well,
glass
they
of their
had
dad.
3
Yes,
beers.
yeah.
He asked for a beer. They poured one in the dog's bowl and then
Oh.
drank the other 2 as fast as they could.
Which was
Their dad was
fantastic.
he was an angry gentleman.
Well, it's funny, like not knowing. I didn't look up the cast before I watched this, but hearing the dad talk, I was like, it sounds like a cartoon voice
Yosemite
without
Sam.
knowing it. Yeah,
Yeah, it was Mel Blanc.
I was
Like,
like,
hey,
yeah, yeah.
who got, yeah.
I knew
can't
that
do it
voice from
very well.
somewhere.
What was he watching? Every time you saw
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, it was Tom and Jerry on the TV.
On the cartoon. Or,
But
yeah.
who was actually physically playing him? 'Cause
Yeah,
it
that's what I
wasn't
don't
Mel
know.
Blanc.
Wasn't it?
Was it Don Amici?
No, I think at the end, if you watch the movie the whole way through the
Al
credits,
Pacino.
I think you pick up on it finally. That was Bob and Doug McKenzie on the couch as well.
Oh, for real?
That was Dave Thomas was what Mel Blanc's voice was coming from, and Rick
Oh,
Moranis
okay.
was sitting next to him
Oh, shit.
Interesting.
I
in
didn't know
wigs.
that.
Yep.
Okay.
That's not a fun fact. I just happened to watch it. I was
I
like,
didn't
oh
catch
shit,
it.
that's him.
You know, that was going to make me puke, though, that scene with the dog and the beer and all that.
All the chunks and shit. Yeah, it was nasty.
No, when he poured it back into the...
Oh yeah.
Well,
Well, it didn't matter. His dad didn't drink it. He dropped it on the floor.
just the look of it. I don't know.
Yeah, so they're arguing who's going to give it to their dad. And yeah, I'm going to let go. I'm going to let go. I'm going to let go. And they both let go. Break the glass. Dad says, hey, man, I want a fresh case of beer tomorrow morning. Dad, I need money.
What happened to the money I gave
That's
you?
right. He refunded it to that angry dad with the two kids who'd been saving up for weeks to see the movie.
Now, how much did he refund?
$15.
$15. How much was a case of beer?
$14.70.
That's what he charged. It's not what the wall said for a case of Elsinore. But I was asking, in 1983, would you have paid $15 for
No,
a case
that's
of beer?
high end.
I feel like we were getting beer
11
not
or 12.
long after that for
Like $8.
probably for, I mean, hell, you could get a case of the Beast for what, $6, $7 a case?
Maybe it's a high-end beer.
Well, it
Canadia's
was,
finest.
it was
Yeah,
Elsinore.
yeah, Elsinore is a high end company.
Yeah.
That is
Oh, it's
expensive.
also, but then I thought, I wonder if it's because of the exchange rate. It's Canadian dollars. They're like real dollars, but not as good.
They're
Not
more like,
anymore.
they're more like fancy pesos,
Yeah, right.
That's a better way of describing it.
French pesos.
I think yeah,
Mexican,
I think
Canadian.
Mexican,
Yeah,
French, Canadian. I
pesos.
think it's all the same
Right.
in pesos.
So the next morning, they go off to get that case of beer, but they try to pull one of their old tricks with that mouse in the bottle.
Mouse in the bottle.
Mouse in the bottle. Clerk says, hell no, that's not going to work here. You want to complain about a mouse in the bottle, you got to take it up to the brewery. So they do.
I think that had to have been a real thing, like at one point in Canada.
I'm sure somebody
like,
tried
like
it.
putting my
putting mice
yeah,
in
there's
there.
like a mouse in my beer. Like, oh my god, you guys are trying to kill me. Can I get a free?
That was a weird beer distributor, too, that came out on conveyor, like a conveyor type belt.
It's
You
like
would-
Best.
Like Best Price. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What a great store.
I miss Best.
Did you notice like all the
And Jewel Core, I think, did the same thing.
Jewel Core, yeah. That's where the old Woody's workout was there.
Oh
Yeah.
no, but all the beer were like the having the Coors, like the banquet beers.
The
how
little-
they went
the
back to
little
them,
fatty
the little
ones.
fat, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But I thought the store looked weird too, and I don't know if anybody from Canada can afford to listen to this show with the value of their
Yeah.
currency currently. But I was interested enough to like look quickly and see what kind of beer store that would, because most of the time for something like that, you're going to use an existing store. You're not going to build a set for something that
Right.
shitty. I guess you could, but unless you can't get the rights. And that apparently I think the beer stores up there, I don't know if they still are or not, but were government, like our stupid state stores here, that they should have abolished state control of decades ago,
Sure.
operates like that up there for beer. And I guess that's why there was only
That's why
one
the-
price.
the beer was so
The
expensive.
one
Yeah.
case of beer, $12.50. One 6-pack, was the same price no matter, because the guy came in and ordered the Elsinore, it was this price. The guy came in and ordered the whatever Molson or whatever, and it was the same
Yukon
price.
Gold.
Yukon Gold, thank you.
Gold.
Canada got to fix their roads too, man.
Yeah, that's right.
They need some money.
You drive up there?
No,
I thought you said got a snowmobile.
no, they have horses.
Oh, is that where Lancaster is?
No, those are for the trolleys.
Are you talking Clydesdales?
I think that's Chicago.
No, it's not Chicago. They don't have Clydesdales in Chicago.
Oh, St. Louis, I was thinking.
Yes, that's Missouri.
It's all kind of the same out there.
I don't know. I've never been to St. Louis. Wait, yeah, I have. Yeah, that's where the big arch is. Yeah,
It is
but
where the
there.
big arch is. Some call it the gateway to the
Yeah, the
West.
gateway to the west.
That's where Clark pulled over in the bad neighborhood, right?
Indeed.
Look at
You're
shit
not going to
stolen.
want to be in East St. Louis.
No,
stay in normal St. Louis.
What did they end up spraying on the side of his car? Die honky?
Die honky.
It was like honky lips.
That's honky lips.
Yeah.
That's right. Honky
Yeah.
lips.
Yeah.
Well, with the failed mouse attempt, off to the brewery they go, where we find Elsinore Brewery, along with Elsinore Castle and Elsinore Research and Development, located next door to the Royal Canadian Institute for the Mentally Insane.
That looked like a painting.
Oh, yeah.
That was,
Absolutely.
It was definitely a painting.
Yeah.
That was like some Coming to America special effects.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that was bigger though in like the early '80s.
Sure.
For like a scene in the background is like a really bad painting.
Right.
When they arrive at the gates, they come upon a woman in her car, which is wedged between electrified gates. The brothers devise a plan to use their van to ram the car through, and Doug forces Bob to drive in case she sues for whiplash. I mean, that's my no. You drive in case she sues for whiplash.
Devise seems like a strong word. Although we do learn at this point that Doug McKenzie has some skill with electric.
Yeah, he put the stereo. He installed the stereo.
It's on the stereo. He is an amazing person.
Well, he's going to put that to use later.
He knows about electrics.
That's right.
Well, success. Both of the vehicles make their way through the gates, but they're being watched.
Is it by the receptionist?
No, they're not being watched by the receptionist. Instead, they're being watched by Ted, a trusted right-hand man to Brewmeister Smith, Claude Elsinore, a bumbling fool of a man, and Brewmeister Smith, a dominating force of power, influence, and decision-making, who is also a doctor at the neighboring insane asylum.
So he has a lot of he's a man of many. He's like a jack of all trades.
Dude, he's a doctor. He's a head doctor, and he's a chemist, apparently.
Yeah.
I feel like you gave him too many adjectives. He just seems like kind of a dick when we meet him.
Yeah.
I know that
I think
feeling.
he's talented.
You thought? I thought he was the brewmaster at first, and then we
he's
find out he's not even the damn brewmaster. Wait, was he the brewmaster? No, it's the other guy, the fat guy that nobody remembers his name. Who
Henry
I thought
Green.
was the brewmaster.
No, the brewmaster is the guy Brewmeister, unless there's a brewmeister and a brewmaster.
Well, it's the same word.
Then maybe Brewmeister Smith is the brewmaster.
Brewmaster Smith.
I'm just going out on a limb here.
Americanized.
Well, I mean, if you're going to say brewmeister, the meister is the German part of the word, but brew isn't a German word. That would be brow
Like Meisterbrow.
or broy.
or Lowenbrow
Yeah.
or
Meisterbrow.
Then it would need to be the browmeister.
Yeah.
Braumhilda.
Yeah. Brown milk.
I don't know what she had to do with beer.
I don't know.
Oh, she got a lot to do with it.
Yeah. You need a couple of them.
All right, so donuts.
Well, that's right. That's exactly where we are. So Bob and Doug enter the brewery. They're greeted by the receptionist. And they attempt to weasel their way in by telling the receptionist that they have an appointment with John Elsinore, who is now dead.
Well, they didn't say John Elsinore. We said that guy there on the wall.
That's right. Who had recently died. After bribing the receptionist with a chocolate donut, we also learned that the day after John
Two
Elsinore
donuts.
died, his brother Claude married John's wife and took over the brewery. After that second donut, which was a jelly, is used to further entice the receptionist to spill the beans. We learned that John's daughter, Pam, who just recently turned 21, stands to inherit the entire brewery. Now, there's an interesting quirk in this. Now, maybe I misheard it.
Go ahead, because I noticed the same thing.
Okay. So the receptionist did say 21, correct?
Okay, so no, I noticed that as well, but I thought you were going somewhere else when you said, yeah, go ahead.
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But
You're going to go for her age here.
Yeah.
Her age is incorrect. Yeah, her age is 3 years off based on the birthday.
Correct.
The year the movie takes place in 83. The birthday that shows up that she says is her birthday on the video game later, and they just saying that she turned 21. The other thing was she said, and somebody else referenced too, that she's going to get entire control of the company, but she just had the 51%.
That's right.
They made it sound like she was just inheriting. It was a family owned. So I don't know
Was it 51 entire control?
No, it's majority control.
Yeah, majority. Okay, not entire. I got you.
So then you're saying off the video game, how old would have she been? 18?
24.
Or 24.
No,
she was born in 59, according to the video
okay.
game.
They had a cool video game section. I dug that.
Yeah.
It was a nice place to work. And a chocolate milk available out of the vending machine.
4 months out of date.
Ugh.
Yeah, but it's
The
still,
other
it's
thing
the
was
effort.
not only was he drinking the out of date milk, but the power was off in the room. You'd think you'd say that milk probably hasn't been refrigerated in some time.
Yeah, that's the first thing Michelle said when we were watching it.
It's like, what was that? When we were kids, there was that show on that they used to get high off of the spoiled milk. What was that?
They used to get high off spoiled milk.
There were these aliens.
No, you're talking about V.
V.
Oh, V.
They were
Yes.
actually lizards dressed
Lizards,
in
yep.
skin, dressed in human skin.
See, you watched that over at your house. That was the sort of show I wasn't allowed to watch in my
Oh,
house.
okay. I snuck it.
I know George was a fan of that
Yes,
too.
V was very,
Steele
very
and
cool.
George,
Steele and George.
and yeah, Matt were fans of V. I don't think I've ever seen an episode of it.
It's actually very cool.
I never saw it. I've heard of it, but I never
Did you watch
watched
any
it.
of that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
So they
That
drank
was good.
spoiled milk?
Yeah, that would like get them high. It was
They
like a
ate
drug.
mice and they drank spoiled milk.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No. That's wrong. V ate the mice. It was Alienation that
Alienation.
drank the funky
Remember
milk.
that and I watched Alien Nation
That's
maybe
the
a
dude
couple
with
of years. No, I know with the
big head.
polka
Is that
dot head.
Lou Gossett Jr. or whatever?
Louis Gossett Jr. was in that. Yes.
In the movie, then there was a
Maybe
show.
they did.
They had a show with it
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Okay.
What was the movie with Roddy Piper?
Oh, that was
They
They live.
They Live. That was a great one.
Classic.
Yes.
And it's the one that Kyle MacLachlan was in also, right?
He was in the Lucky Special Gun, which was
Yep. Wasn't it They Live? I thought it was.
no,
They Live.
that was The Hidden.
The
The Hidden, you're
Which
right.
was a very good one also.
You don't know that one?
No, I'm not a big
Those are-
sci-fi
Yeah,
guy.
so you need to.
I'm not at all. That's,
Well, I don't know if I'd call it sci-fi. They Live was more like.
well, no,
a-
I've seen They Live. I remember the cover. He had like the shades, and there was like a reflection in it or something.
what was
like
it
that.
called? The Hidden.
The Hidden. Yep. The
Hidden
Kyle
was-
MacLachlan one was The Hidden.
Who was in it with him?
Oh shit!
Somebody else was in it then.
Like somebody big.
Somebody like not like we were talking about with the cast of this movie. I mean, somebody else who actually lasted. Like nobody thinks Kyle MacLachlan's the hugest
Was she
star
on
in the
Lilith-
world today,
Lilith Fair?
but he went on to do a lot of things.
I think the bad guy from RoboCop.
Peter Weller.
No, Peter
Peter
Weller
Weller
wasn't in
was
it.
That's
RoboCop.
RoboCop.
Also, he was the chief. He was the chief in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
He was in Hidden. The Hidden.
That may be.
Yeah.
No, it was Michael Nori. Is that who you're talking about?
I don't know who the hell that is.
No, there's really actually nobody in that.
All right. Well, it's been a long time. I haven't
Yeah.
seen The Hidden in a long
The
time.
Hidden's a great movie.
I thought
Anybody?
it was They Live when he started talking about it. So what do I know? So donuts. We left
Donuts and
off
beer
at
store.
donuts.
Oh yeah.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
spoiled milk. I think we were at.
Well, we were getting there.
Getting there, okay.
But he.
We can go to wherever you want. I don't give a shit at this point.
So I mean, they just bribe and then they start wandering around, right? When the lady gets called to do something. How do they get past her? Just the jelly donut?
So they
I
get
think
past the
that's-
jelly
yeah.
donut and they get
It's Canada.
past, and they're
You don't
just
really need to do
wandering
much.
around.
Well,
Just
that's what I mean.
wandering
They
around.
just end up. I thought like the next time they show them, they're just wandering around aimlessly, like she didn't care.
And that's when Rosie LaRose, they come upon Rosie LaRose, who takes them to Claude's office. Meanwhile, up in Claude's office, he's trying to buy out Pam. Like, here's $5 million. She says, no way, rips up the check. I'm going to run the brewery. In fact, so they arrive at, just in the midst of this haggling between Pam, Claude, Henry Green, who's Pam's offered to help her with
The fat guy.
operations. Yeah.
Fat guy.
Note, this is the first time Pam meets Rosie LaRose, and she's immediately smitten.
Oh yeah, she double.
She-
I'll
she
also
loved
note
that guy.
that Henry Green, or the fat guy, is definitely 80s fat.
Sure.
What's that mean? What do you mean?
Like very, very huge.
That guy was fat for the 80s. You would have seen that and looked at him. It's like Chunk from the Goonies, right?
Like a
If you-
Dom DeLuise fat?
But no, I'm just saying for 80s time frame. Go back and watch an 80s movie. How many fat people do you see in it? Everybody's skinny as hell. There wasn't nearly as much food.
A lot of Coke in the 80s.
Now, would you even call Henry Green fat today?
Chunky.
You'd probably say he was a little overweight.
Yeah, overweight.
Maybe.
He was high on the BMI.
Well, I saw an awful lot of huts out this past weekend. There are a lot of big
See,
old
that-
fat jobbers running around.
That's
out
something
there.
we need to get into. Where were the Jabbas hiding out at? Anyone? Bueller.
Wait, what, I don't know what your question is.
No, you said you've seen a lot this weekend. Where were you at that you saw the very heavy set?
The gun
you had to
bash.
have been in Pennsylvania.
The fire department fundraiser.
Oh, okay.
Gun bash.
Gun bash. Super raffle.
She's talking a lot of like middle class Americans.
There's a lot
doing
of
their
good
things.
people there, but man, there's just a lot of fat people. Anymore, everywhere.
Like you're talking like morbidly obese.
I'm telling you.
Or they
when-
ride around in scooters.
Look,
Is this the kind of fat people we're talking
I
about?
know you go to Hershey Park. I also go to Hershey Park. And when I get stuck waiting in line, every ride I get in line for, because some morbidly obese fat son of a bitch feels like they're somehow going to squeeze into that tiny car, and they get the whole way to the front of the line, you have 3 Hershey Park employees trying to close the friggin' seat on them.
This is where they stop the ride.
They stop the ride because you can't. And then they, after 2, 3, 5 minutes of trying to get that fat fuck strapped into a seat, they finally just have to give up and say, I'm sorry, you're just not going to fit here.
He's not getting on the great mouse because he can just flying off the side. That shit ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Every time.
I get it.
Just a lot of fat. Too many fat people. Stop eating so much.
Yeah.
But the Americans are so big with portions. They try to control it.
But then go out and get a little exercise.
Yeah, but that takes so much effort.
Well, it takes some effort.
That's exactly the word.
You do have to get
it
up
takes
off
some
your
effort.
ass.
It takes some effort.
Just be less fat.
These poor Americans.
Donuts. They're exacerbating the problem.
So yummy.
So
These guys convince the people at Elsinore, I should say the people at Elsinore realize that these guys presenting them with a bottle with a mouse in it. Man, we need guys on the line to observe this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's quality control.
It reminded me of
Bob and Doug get a job.
Laverne and Shirley with the beer bottle.
me too.
Absolutely.
Beer bottles going by.
Absolutely. Meantime, Brewmeister Smith is back in the control room with Ted. Turns out there's an evil plan to take over the world by tainting Elsinore beer with a mind control drug, which not only makes its consumers docile, it also makes them vulnerable to control when certain musical tones are played. Smith has actually been testing this tainted beer on patients of the neighboring insane asylum, which is connected to this brewery by tunnels. So this is what you get when you're both the brewmaster chemist or brewmeister.
Now I don't even want to watch the movie.
And
you
the
gave
doctor.
You gave away what the bad guy was doing.
That's his
You
plan.
gotta wait until the end to find that out.
They tell you that plan in the beginning.
Ah,
Yeah.
You just watched the movie.
no, you know he's up to no good.
Starting trouble in the neighborhood.
But he's good with a keyboard.
He is.
Yeah.
Ted's good with the keyboard.
That's correct.
That's right. That night, the boys go home and impress their father by having a fucking job.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Call the neighbors. No, I'll do it.
And he just yelled
Yells
out.
out.
It was a classic small house. How big would that house would probably fit in your old dirty basement?
I'd say probably like a 900 square foot
Yeah,
house.
it was not a very, very big house.
Yeah.
That was a $340,000 home at that time.
Back then.
That's
Yes.
Canadian pesos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Canadian pesos.
Well,
It's a
that was
Mexican-Canadian mix,
Yeah.
for those of you who are not familiar with the
But
Canadian.
he was less impressed with the jobs than he was with the van full of beer.
Ooh.
Now, how many free cases of beer did they get?
So he said, Doug says to his dad, oh, we got like 15, 20 cases.
I think he said 10, 15
10, 15.
cases.
But then you look
And
at the
I'm
truck. There's dozens. I mean, dozens and dozens in there.
Way
Can't let
more.
your dad know exactly what you got.
Well, he obviously found out. By the time they got back, next time all that beer was gone.
All gone.
Do you remember a time where a case of beer was like a 6-pack of beer was something that was like, wow, can't believe I have a 6-pack. Do you guys remember those days? Like,
But
Are you saying show up someplace with a 6-pack and saying, yeah, cool,
yes,
take this?
yes, a 6-pack or a 12-pack or like a party ball, or if you actually
Oh, I
had a
forgot
case.
about party balls.
do
Yeah.
you mean in the
Case-
showing up with it, or do you mean in the saying, hey, that was a 6-pack we just put away?
No, I'm just saying like having
be
a,
able to afford
a
it.
case of beer was something cool.
Yeah. You'd have to chip in for that.
Well,
Yeah, something you chip in for.
Well, when you're,
but it was
if you're
fun to
talking
have.
about as a youth.
when you're under 21, getting
Yes,
it illegally.
yes, exactly, illegally.
yeah.
Not that
It's a
I
good
would
time.
do something like that.
Nobody would.
No, absolutely not.
I can't speak to that. Well, next morning, they're already at work before anybody else arrives. I guess they got into it the night before and wanted to make sure that they showed up to work on time. Pam shows up, and there's donuts everywhere. Everywhere.
They love donuts.
Yeah, so she escorts them to the cafeteria.
Is that what that was? Those boxes were all donuts.
All donuts.
Oh, wow.
All donuts all day. In fact, she picks them up like, look, you guys can't be
No, I
out here
know.
with all
She
these
said
donuts.
she couldn't have all the mess. You can't leave this mess out here.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was donuts.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I should have figured that out.
They like them up there. Apparently.
I think I was on bourbon while I was watching this, though. I figured it'd make the movie better.
Yeah.
Any kind of alcohol
Yeah.
would make the movie better.
So when we were coming up, Tim, I remember watching this a number of times up at the Hoffmans.
Well, and that's why I was surprised when you said, hey, I heard you fancy this movie.
So I remember watching it up there, and I only have memories of...
Was that Cloak of the Bat's house?
Yes.
So, yes, that is where I was definitely up there watching it. That's the only reason I know this movie in the first place.
Okay, I wanted to make sure of that. I wasn't sure whether you had gotten it someplace else. Just couldn't remember that far back.
Oh, my, yeah.
All right.
Do you know in Canada they call a donut a doochie?
A Dutchie or a Doochie?
Dutchie, doochie.
Did you just
Is it
say in
doochie?
Canada they call it that?
Yeah.
Well, just watched a Canadian movie. They called them donuts the whole way through the movie.
Oh, it says here a Dutchie.
Are you
Duchy.
sure you're not talking about French Canadians? Because they're an entirely different people.
No. And the Tim Hortons was the one that popularized the donuts. That's why they have them everywhere. Tim Hortons is like a food chain, correct? Or like
coffee.
a giant.
I thought it was a gas station, like a Sheetz or something. I don't know. I'm familiar with the name, not familiar of hearing of it from anybody but Canadians or people who live close to the Canadian border.
I'm familiar with the coffee. That's it.
That's all I know. Yeah, Tim Hortons.
I guess the Tim Hortons change is the one that popularized it.
Donuts or that fake donut name you said?
The Dutchie, the Dutchie or the Duchy.
Pasta.
And actually, they have a lot
That's
of.
what I was thinking. That's the only Dutchie I know.
Not on the left hand side, people.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
They're basically an apple fritter.
Well, that's not a donut at all.
No, but they're Canadians, and they don't know what a donut is. God damn it!
They use the metric system.
They should buy an
Yes.
English dictionary with some of those pesos.
They're on like millimeters and shit. You don't pay attention
Metric.
to that.
So with all of those goddamn donuts, they make their way to that cafeteria with the power off that we've been talking about. There they find the vending machines and a Galactic Patrol video game.
Was that where they had like that really cool like guy that floating in the are we there yet? Are we still?
It is in the same room, but not until later. You're giving away spoilers, man.
Damn it! God damn it! There's like a guy. He's like, ugh.
There is a hoser ghost floating around.
Hoser
in there.
Ghost.
He's like, use the force.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong part. I'm sorry.
No, that's good because it is the same room. You
Yes, it
you
is.
were spot
I
on.
know that room.
It's the
It
same
brings
room.
me back.
What was the video game? And I don't mean what did they call it. They were actually playing it at
Dig
one
Dug.
point. It looked like it was Galaga or something back there.
They called it Galactic Border Patrol.
All right, it's Galaga then.
I think Galaga didn't come out until later because I liked Galaga. Maybe it was Space Invaders. Mm-hmm. That's a shitty enough game, an old enough game that it would have been in the arcade in '83. I think.
Yeah.
Galaga, I thought was more like in '87. Same game,
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
better graphics. So
Was it?
Galaga.
Yeah.
Yeah, Galaga was fun. And Space Invaders, of course, they just
both-
kept marching down and dropping bombs on you and shit.
Well, they went into
Galaga,
like
they'd actually launch side attacks and stuff come flying at you. You don't remember Galaga?
no, that was Space Invaders, and it was
yeah, it
like
was,
that.
but it was the stupid. It was all on straight lines and stuff. In Galaga, they'd actually come out and fly like
do
around
different patterns.
Yeah,
come
I
out.
remember it now. Now I know what you're talking about.
yeah. And there were more than two colors on the screen.
Yeah.
You could get the two guys at the bottom sliding back and forth.
It's always better to have a sidekick.
But then they have like the you can get like the 6-shooter.
No, I think that's another one that came later. I
Right.
don't know.
God damn, they're all the same.
That's been a long time.
Well, it's in this cafeteria
It is in this cafeteria.
where they
Ghost.
after they turn the power back on.
But don't worry, Doug knows a lot about electric.
He does.
He puts it to use fixing the power.
He sure
by
does.
throwing a switch.
He pulls a switch, turns it back on. The vending machines kick out like fucking slot machines.
Yep.
All the old 4-month-old milk spills out,
Delicious.
and Space Patrol, Galactic Border Patrol starts out. That's where Pam sees that her name's on there, and mysteriously the high score is the same number as her birthday.
Where's it at on God's great earth that they have like the damn organ and the hockey players start going nuts? When is that?
That's.
Is that like right around the corner? Or?
I think didn't they already do one run of that?
They already did a run of
showed
that.
one run of that when Smith was with Ted,
All right.
and he was asking about it. They're pretty sweet hockey suits, though.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
are.
God, yeah.
I don't know about the tights underneath.
Anyways, after that, Pam goes to meet with Brewmeister Smith. She has a heated exchange with him, gives him his 2 weeks notice, basically fires the guy, angered. Brewmeister Smith goes to meet with Claude to concoct a plan to exact his revenge, which is basically he wants to set up the two brothers to make it look like they did something to Pam and to Henry.
Yeah.
It's a frame.
Oh, it's a frame, all right. Meanwhile, Bob and Doug have joined Rosie and a number of the patients in the insane asylum for a game of ice hockey in the basement brewery.
There we go.
Bob and Doug are playing opposing goalies, however, and unbeknownst to them, Ted, at the direction of Brewmeister Smith, is controlling the players by virtue of those musical tones in that keyboard of his.
Yeah, it was weird.
That was just a brief preview.
No, that was awesome, man.
Thank you. I tried.
So, meanwhile, there's a cutscene of Pam. Pam has now taken Henry into the cafeteria to show him the oddity that had appeared on that Galactic Patrol game. And not just that shows up, but now they're watching a video. This is actual video footage of what had happened to her dad, John. His dead body was actually placed to make it look like he was electrocuted at one of those gates. But in reality, that, as I had said, it was already dead. It was a makeshift. It was terrible. It was a falsified crime scene, I tell you.
It was a great scene, though. And the reason why it was a great scene was that even the falsified scene, there was another body in it.
Yep.
You spotted it?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So the guy who was supposedly dead, supposedly electrocuted by the fence, then turns toward the camera and falls away from the fence. But even in the edited video where they're showing that to incriminate someone else or show it was a suicide or whatever, you can see, I believe it's Dr. Smith off on the side, catching the body as it goes down. You can see his arm enter the screen and part of his head.
We got to cut that shit.
Which shit?
The scene. You got to cut that.
Well, they did cut it. That was why it was funny.
It was a mistake.
It was a big mistake.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the jury or the investigator missed that one.
Oh, we might find out.
I saw it while I was through a glass of bourbon.
Unless it was time coded, which can't be falsified, can't be faked.
I heard that. Could you
Allegedly.
explain time codes?
No, but the guy from the movie can.
No, he can't. Just because he doesn't know what it is doesn't mean it's not true.
All right, what is the time code?
This is the guy with a alleged photographic memory. Some sculptor, I don't know. Anyway, so Bob and Doug go back after getting beaten the shit out of with the hockey game with the insane asylum guys. Bob and Doug go back to the locker room to find that their clothes are missing. Yet mysteriously, we see two men dressed in their clothes walking away. Pam and Henry make their way to the control room, and while marveling at the room's contents, the two men dressed in Bob and Doug's clothes arrive behind them and shoot them with tranquilizer darts. Lo and behold, it's Brewmeister Smith and Claude. Smith's plans to take Pam and Henry to the loading docks stuff their unconscious bodies into beer kegs. Meanwhile, Bob and Doug find their way into the control room. While playing with the equipment, a floppy disk ejects and Doug places it in his pocket. Smith and Claude return to shoot Bob and Doug with the tranquilizer darts. Bob and Doug are placed in the front seat of their van, and Pam and Henry, stuffed into kegs, are placed into the back of the van. Bob and Doug are then awakened by Claude and instructed to make a delivery. In the meantime, Ted has tampered with the van's brakes.
Yeah.
After 2 stops, the van's brakes will no longer work. They depart and are followed by Brewmeister Smith and Claude. Bob and Doug take an alternate route. They have to stop by their house and feed Hosehead the dog.
Hey, Hoser.
Did you feed Hosehead? No, we better go feed him.
Dog got to eat, man.
Dog got to eat.
That's right.
Arrival at their house marks the second time the van has stopped. After feeding the dog and happening upon their parents making love, the two attempt to...
Ooh.
Yeah, right?
That was a sexy scene.
was a
Yeah,
weird
that was
scene.
weird. They didn't even need that.
For
Very
sure,
awkward.
awkward.
I didn't like that.
They tried to play that floppy disk on the record player. So back in their van they go. Unbeknownst to them, however, there's going to be no brakes. This is an interesting part. I remember doing this as a kid. Like, hey, did you ever notice in movies, like when they're driving, they don't look at the road for a long time?
And they turn the wheel like
Yeah.
incredibly hard.
Overly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're being towed by a rig or something. Anyway, steadily accelerating, evading traffic, and running through stop signs, they alert the attention of the police, who are now in hot pursuit. The brakes are officially out. Wildly out of control, the van careens through a loading dock on a pier and ends in the bay.
Yeah, that was a healthy jump.
That was an incredible jump.
Yeah. I think I was more
It
than...
was a real Dukes of Hazzard with
Yeah.
a pre-positioned ramp.
Yeah, so Rosie, who was conveniently on the pier at the same time, sees the van crash land into the bay and jumps into the water to help. Now, why was Rosie on the pier with flowers?
Because he knew that he was trying to find what's-her-butt, Pam, and knew she had left with, or that Bob and Doug were headed to the party. So how he ended up exactly at the pier, I don't know, but he did leave the brewery.
With a hockey mask on.
That's right. He was on his bike. Yeah. So I don't, it's a good question. The better question at that scene is, so of course, Fat Henry and Pam were in the 2 kegs, right?
Yep. Henry's keg fell out when they were driving through the pier.
Correct. Notably, those kegs were like 3 times the size of a normal keg of beer.
So what is that? That's not a keg then?
No, it's a barrel, but I don't think they even ship beer like that in barrels.
How do you, maybe in Canada,
Just
that's like a
in
normal
large
thing.
kegs. No, because if you look at the actual kegs back at the brewery, they're all the normal keg size. These were barrels, but
Okay.
they, so his fell out of the truck. Fat Henry fell out of the van,
Correct.
bounced around, got all beat up inside the container. Why? Because his keg never opened.
Yep.
Pam mysteriously swims up from below the keg after it hits the water.
Yep.
But she was in the keg.
I don't know.
It didn't open because it was still floating sideways.
Is it possible there was a third keg?
There could have been a fourth.
It may have been the magic keg.
No, I'm saying that. So if she
Could have been 5 kegs
if she
involved.
came from below, is it not possible that there were 3 kegs, one that was floating on the water, one that Henry was in, and the third that she was in from the floor of the bay that she swam
There
on?
were only 2 kegs in the back.
You watched them load the van?
Yeah, they actually show him loading the van.
You're sure there were no other kegs in that van?
Look,
This is like
I'll
this is
bet
like
you
this is like a
shiny
true
nickel
crime.
there were no other kegs in that van.
True crime based on Strange Brew.
Yeah.
How many kegs? But not really kegs. What were they?
Barrels.
Barrels.
I never
Super
knew there
kegs.
was a such thing as a barrel of beer that was bigger. I just always thought kegs were kegs.
You ship them in kegs. Now they
But how do
might
you get
do
a
a barrel.
barrel?
Well, that was a barrel. I'm not saying it was a
okay.
barrel of beer. They said we're going to hide them in
Because
kegs.
if there was a barrel, I would have seen one still in George's fridge
Yeah, right.
in the basement. Because if there was enough there, I would
I
have
don't
seen
know.
it.
You got a pad over there that you're watching shit on. You look and see if there's a barrel of beer.
I don't. I think the biggest you can get is like a full keg.
I think a full keg is the limit for shipping purposes.
Yes.
Now, for storage vats and shit like that, I don't know. And I don't know that. I think by the time even a big beer manufacturer starts shipping its beer out of the brewery, they're not shipping it to another brewery to be further put into small containers. They're bottling it or kegging it at the source.
I've heard that term barrel of beer. I just never knew. I just assumed they were talking about a keg. I didn't.
No, I think then you're talking
wouldn't even
about
be a
like an old wooden barrel,
Okay, that's-
like you store wine or
which is
something.
going to be more fluid ounces.
The largest you can ship available to you, a consumer, is called a half barrel keg.
half barrel keg. Yeah.
So a full barrel would be. Full
It
keg.
doesn't really exist.
Oh, okay.
So what you are normally thinking of as the big keg, that's
Is a
what
half
a
barrel.
lot of people call a half
Half
keg.
keg. Okay.
And then even
Quarter
though it's
keg.
really a half barrel, and then the quarter is the little guy, and then you got the party ball.
Which yeah.
But in the continental U.S., it's a half barrel or a half keg is the biggest you can get.
Yep.
Good to know. Learn something new.
I'm just saying those were fake ass kegs.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
You're
were
not
they were
you're not-
people-sized kegs.
You're not fitting a human in there.
No, you're
not.
I got you. I got you.
Liars.
Agreed. That was
Damn
far too big.
Canadians.
And hers didn't open. She was out of.
Okay.
But anyway,
I honestly could not care.
Yeah.
she was also not so good at swimming.
Yeah, because
Yeah, she did
apparently
like that weird. Yeah.
she's just started sinking.
Now, I'm not saying the movie has to follow a whole lot of logic. I just happened to think of it while I was sitting there watching it as an adult as opposed to watching it as a kid.
Sure.
What was following
So
logic
she-
the whole time?
So
pretty
she
much,
comes
yeah.
out of the barrel. Let's assume she makes it out of the barrel. She can't cling to it because it keeps rolling over in the water.
So she starts sinking.
So she starts sinking as opposed to swimming towards shore. Now, of course, Rosie LaRose jumps in, throws a little bit of oxygen to her while she's halfway down.
Yep.
Instead of swimming back up himself with presumably some oxygen left in his lungs, he just drifts to the bottom.
Yep.
She swims right back to where she sank down from in the first place, with still nothing up there except the empty barrel.
I don't know, man. This is
No,
Hollywood.
I'm never watching this for shit movie ever again.
What?
Based on those facts.
Yeah.
Done.
It just took me out of it.
Well, Pam's now made her way back onto the
So
pier.
you're back at the ranch.
No, it's fine. Pam made her way back to the pier. The police approached her in hopes of obtaining some sort of explanation as to what happened. But before she can speak a word, Brewmeister Smith shoots her with a tranquilizer dart from afar and swiftly drives away with Claude. Sometime later, police divers are inspecting the wreckage of the van at the bottom of the bay. Lo and behold, the McKenzie brothers and Rosie are still alive. Yeah, I know, I heard it.
That was definitely me.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So the brothers are still
So it's like
alive.
Sensitive.
I thought it was like The Hobbit.
Could be.
Like I'm taking like a melting gold.
Could be.
It's gonna be like aliens.
Yeah. Oh, fingers crossed. So the brothers had been huffing whatever oxygen had remained in empty beer bottles that had been strewn throughout the van. In the driver's seat, Doug actually rolls his window down and shows his identification to one of the officers as though he's being pulled over for a traffic violation. Like, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought. All right, so they got booked. Doug's intimidating Bob, telling him, like, oh, man, the cons are going to love you. They're going to just molest you to, like, whatever, to the Jesus belt. And what's Doug going to be doing? Selling smokes in the cafeteria.
They're gonna say crack.
Smokes. I'll be selling smokes. after they're identified by Pam, actually they identify Pam. So Pam comes in, is supposed to pick these guys out of a lineup. They immediately say, "Oh, there she is."
The two-way mirror did not appear to be working.
Certainly did not work. They make their way to their holding cell, where we see all the cons with which they will be at least sharing the night. There's actually special focus on this one big, fat, bald one. Like, of all the people in there, like, that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's the one that's going to intimidate Bob the most.
Maybe, yeah.
So scared.
Back at Pam's house, she's suffering from catatonic schizophrenia, which her Uncle Claude explains to the police inspector with word-for-word definition specificity.
Catatonic schizophrenia.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back to the jail cell, Bob and Doug attempt to fit in with the other convicts by telling tall tales of crimes they've never committed and acting tough. So tough, in fact, that they turn down an offer for cigarettes as they want their lungs to be pink when they're fried in the electric chair. Lawyers are for sucks.
Yeah.
Just as their lawyer arrives. That is to say, so these guys, no, we didn't even want a lawyer. Lawyers are for sucks.
Right.
Mackenzie Brothers, your lawyer's here. Awesome. Back in the control room at the brewery, Brewmeister Smith and Ted proceed with piecing together falsified video footage of the Mackenzie brothers, making it look like the two brothers had exacted Smith's plan as he'd intended. Smith and Ted also discover that one disc that could incriminate them is now in Doug's possession.
That's the one he put on the record player.
That's right.
Yeah.
He put the needle on the record.
New wave British
When
rock.
the drum
that's
beat
right.
goes like this.
The next day, Bob and Doug go to the courthouse with their lawyer, who swiftly fights off the press with karate-style maneuvers.
That was funny. We were just watching that. Tim and
Are they really karate-style maneuvers?
well, the guy, like, if you watch it back, he's like balding, but then when he's fighting, like, he's got a full head of hair. Whoever the stunt double was.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
It's very close, but like he's got that big, thick head of hair, but it's real thin right down
Yeah,
the
for
center.
sure.
Yeah.
When you look at him from the front,
Right.
even when you look at it from the side, you can see how wispy it is up there. But this guy had the full-on bush on top of his head.
The stunt double.
Yes,
Yeah.
the stunt double, the
Jesus.
karate expert.
I never noticed that.
I never knew, like,
noticed that.
I read a thing about, like, stunt doubles, even in, like, the silliest things you see in some movies, like, if they trip or fall, like, something at the house, like, they stub their toe or something like that. Like, there's stunt doubles involved in that, where they're just like, I don't want any part of that in case something would happen.
They do. They put stunt doubles.
Yeah,
in
like,
little
and,
things.
like real thing. Like, even they show, like, the lower part of or like where the camera angle is, you really can't tell. Just thought it was
That's
kinda
weird.
Cool. Yeah.
So these two are on the stand, going through everything. Their attorney ends up wanting to. Well, these guys they plead guilty to these two parts of the criminal code, but everything else, they plead not guilty. Prosecution said, well, no, you can't split pleas like that. 2 bowls of split plea soup to go, eh? So after compelling evidence provided by the doctored surveillance video, after testimony provided by Claude and Brewmeister Smith, and after the brothers' natural ability to make fools of themselves in court, the judge declares them to be insane and places them under the care of Dr. also Brewmeister Smith. So that night, Claude pays a visit to Rosie's hospital room and attempts to kill him with an injection of poison. His plot fails. Rosie escapes the hospital and makes his way to the insane asylum. While in the midst of testing out the electroshock therapy equipment at the asylum, Rosie rescues the 2 brothers, and they all make their way to Pam. All 4 make their way through the asylum and then through the tunnels to the brewery. Back in the control room, Smith carries on with his master plan, ensuring the delivery of the tainted beer to the forthcoming Oktoberfest celebration. Oktoberfest, where all attendees will ingest it.
Yeah, so I asked Tim about that Oktoberfest because I've obviously never been to Germany. Tim spent some time. You said it was pretty lame looking.
It was not the best looking Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a good band.
It was in Canada.
Yeah.
It was, and I just watching that again as a kid, it wouldn't have occurred to me, but I don't know what when you look at the dispersal of ethnic groups across the U.S., there's more Germans in the U.S. just between the immigrants and the intermarriage, and you look at the proportion of Germans. Canada seems like it was all French. And Irish and English. And so I wouldn't have even thought Oktoberfest would be a big thing up there, but they're Canadians. They may just look for an excuse to drink.
Yeah.
So let's see. Oktoberfest ingested. Having figured out the Brewmeister's plan, Bob and Pam separate from Doug and Rosie, the first time in their lives where the brothers have ever been separated.
Yeah.
It's a touching moment. Pam and Bob are captured by Brewmeister Smith and placed in one of the brewery's 20,000-gallon containers. Brewmeister Smith opens the valve in order to fill the tank with water and drown them. This is where my brother and I used to say that drowning in beer would be like heaven. Well, now he's not here, and I got 2 soakers. This isn't heaven. This sucks.
We were trying to make out what's on their pajamas. And like it looked like he said the one looked like it was like
Like
a
Christmas
space
pajamas or something.
No,
they
that's
weren't.
what I thought at first.
Yeah.
But if you watch, and until he asked what was on them, I didn't even think about it. I just assumed they were Christmas jammies. But it looked like there were spaceships and spacemen and
That's cool though.
guys with bazookas and ray guns, space bazookas.
Yeah, one was like space themed, like he said, and the other one like was the guy with a
Space
bazooka.
bazookas.
And I looked up, just Googled, like, because usually with movies they'll sell everything out of it. Like people, this is a movie that's what do you call it, iconic or whatever. I thought for sure there'd be Strange Brew pajamas, you know,
Sure.
like Doug and
Oh, this isn't Mel Brooks shit.
yeah, but still,
I
like
mean-
the Spaceballs.
Well, shit, I can buy Real Genius T-shirts. Like
Yes.
any one of the T-shirts they were wearing, you can get.
Mm-hmm. So I was shocked to find nothing on it. So
I was looking for the Canada hat.
can't
The one
find
that,
it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Hmm.
Just classic.
Meanwhile, Rosie and Doug create an uprising among the brainwashed mental patients, all clad in hockey gear and running through the brewery. They ultimately make their way to the brewery's loading dock and make short work of Claude, who'd been sent there to ensure delivery of the tainted beer. They also make their way to Brewmeister Smith in his control room, and after a brief fight between Brewmeister and Rosie, Rosie wins by pushing him against an electronic wall map and electrocuting him.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so there is a map on the wall. There are bulbs in the map. He gets electrocuted by the bulbs or whatever the bulbs are connected to. It's not a fully electronic map.
I wasn't going to argue that. I was just going to say it was John Elsinore that did the electrocuting.
By virtue of the... Oh, that's fair. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he
So-
was the ghost in the machine.
Ghost in the machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of which, as I watch this movie again, so now you can't hardly watch a horror movie anymore without, I'm talking supernatural horror, not like a Scream or something like that, but an actual supernatural horror where the ghost or the monster or the possessed person or whatever doesn't have some sort of control over electronics.
Yes.
Like, I don't know at what point ghosts became able to manipulate the electronic world. Computers, the wiring in your house, your phones, everything else. That's a common theme. Watching this, I thought this might be the first time that ever happened. I don't remember any of the older, like you watch some of those older classic horror films, ever seeing that. And so I don't know if this actually generated it or not, but I think this is the first use of that device of the ghost controlling the electronics.
You know, I was thinking about the budget on this movie, and you're talking about the computers and stuff. And I don't know how much of that stuff was actually functioning or just for like show, but you wonder how much money they actually put into that set. You know what I mean? I'm sure some of it was probably props and fake and stuff like that. But
Was that one Shocker? Remember that movie?
Yeah, the
that
guy
got
gets electrocuted and stuff.
Then he starts going through the
Yep.
yeah, that was a good one.
Lawnmower Man too. It's cool.
Right.
I loved Lawnmower Man.
That was a great movie.
Well, all right. So Brewmeister Smith got electrocuted by whatever, the ghost of the
Doesn't matter.
machine,
He
by
was
touching the
electrocuted.
wall, by touching the
The
wall.
Ghosts of Christmas Past.
I'm beyond it. The police arrive and arrest Claude. Rosie and Doug make their way to the tank holding Bob and Pam. I can't believe it. He drank it all, says Pam. When the tank is opened, we find a ridiculously overinflated Bob McKenzie, who indeed drank all of the beer in the tank.
That's how big you would get though.
He's got
Like,
to take a
imagine-
leak so
yeah.
bad he can taste it.
I think you would die.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Maybe. I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure you would die.
Probably.
They did that in what was that other beer movie called? It was horrible.
Beer Fest?
Beer Fest. Yes, remember? Like he was going to drown, but he drank like all the beer.
I don't remember that part, but when you said other beer movie, that was the first
Yeah,
one
so
that came to
it
mind.
was
Is that the
Beer
one
Fest.
with the boot?
Yes, Das Boot.
You got to get past the glove.
Oh,
in the
yes,
boot.
yeah, I
you have to
remember
turn
that.
it.
Tilt it. Yeah.
But yeah,
You'd
like
probably
they,
die from
they-
alcohol poisoning before you die from that.
But they were practicing. But
I think
he
your
would-
body would just force you to vomit
Yeah.
So you would drown in your own vomit, pretty much. Then.
eventually.
Yeah.
Well, the police arrive at the tank, and before they can conclude upon a plan as to how to get Bob out of the tank, he expels a massive belch, so incredible that it blows the side of the tank off.
He saved himself.
Yeah, Bob's free. In a cutscene back in the cafeteria, the ghost of John Elsinore visits Pam and Henry one final time. He alerts them that Oktoberfest is their new goal, and that Brewmeister Smith's plan and tainted beer must be stopped. The ghost of Elsinore, in a fireball form, shoots into the roof of the asylum, lighting it on fire. Fortunately for the fire company, Bob has about 20,000 gallons of beer in him and takes care of this blaze in short order. Rosie and Pam make their way to Bob and Doug. The tainted beer simply cannot be ingested by the Oktoberfest attendees. Doug devises a plan, but they have to go to their house first. The plan is for Hosehead, their dog, to make his way to Oktoberfest and scare all of the attendees away. After giving Hosehead directions and alerting him that once he gets there, he can have all the free beer and sausages he can eat, Hosehead springs into action. So excited, in fact, is he that to make his way to free beer and sausage extravaganza, a cape opens up from his collar and he flies to his destination like Superman.
They even had like that weird Superman music, but they couldn't
yeah.
quite do Superman music because then it would have been they would have been fine.
Infringement?
Yes.
Although now
infringement.
that music sounded a lot like Spaceballs music.
Yeah.
So
I think
as
that was it.
As a point of clarity, though, he did spring away and flew first. Then the cape appeared as he was flying.
It's true.
The cape unraveled.
The cape fell off as well.
Yes, because he
And then
was
the
super
dog
powered.
turned around to look at it.
Yeah.
They were awesome special effects. Just awesome.
Yeah, we didn't mention that. The special effects in this movie were not part of the budget.
No, it was no.
But that's what made it all the more great.
It wasn't Lucasfilms or
No.
those guys back then.
Yeah, Lucasfilm was a shit for like 1977. That was pretty
way
good.
beyond its
Well,
time.
he had to do it all himself. That's what what's it called? Skywalker, not Skywalker Ranch, but Industrial Light and Magic
ILM,
is what he
ILM.
started
Yeah,
just for that movie. He
Yeah.
had to do all his own stuff.
But they were hella good.
Hella good.
They did not do the effects for this.
Alas, they did not. At the Oktoberfest, we see the attendees enjoying the celebration, imbibing in the free beer provided by Elsinore. Today, where all the beer is free. Not long after, Hosehead arrives and saves the day. He scares all attendees away by being mistaken for a big skunk.
There was a giant skunk in that tent.
Yeah. Pam and Rosie are now a couple. Bob and Doug offer to dispose of the tainted beer, meaning they're going to take it home and keep it for themselves. And our movie ends with Bob and Doug driving away in an 18-wheeler full of beer.
the Elsinore beer truck. Yeah,
That'd be cool to bring to a party.
what's that?
A
Like
fucking
an
18-wheeler?
18-wheeler. Like,
Full of beer.
I mean, they could handle that at like the Bresky picnic or something like that.
Oh, they would burn through that
Yeah,
for sure.
that's what I'm saying.
Bresky picnic?
I-
Wrestler picnic?
Bressler. It's Bressler. Bresky's right there on Eisenhower.
Bresky's is down there.
We actually got confused on that on the last podcast. We talked about a Steelton Park, and we were confused what Siebert Park and Bressler Park are the same thing.
They are the same thing.
Yes.
thing, yeah. We were
Well,
wrong
what's
with
the
that.
other one?
Serb.
Serb Park. That's on
Serb's the one on
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower that nobody ever uses. It just sits there.
And Bresky would be the beverage or the beer distributor.
I'm pretty sure the Serbs use that park. And
Serb Park.
I've never seen any Serbs there.
oh yeah, it's the St. Nicholas, the church right behind it.
Yeah.
They use that for their church picnic. Is there
So it's once a year
Once
that
a
the
year.
park is used.
at least once?
Yeah. So I guess it's time for the fun facts. We got to
Fun
get a sound effect still.
I'm gonna
I
work
thought
on
you were
that.
gonna
Yeah,
bring
Where's the accordion?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it over here and we're gonna record something.
Go ahead and do it, and then I can edit it in.
Sure.
A better one.
Why don't we just get a polka band, man?
Why not?
Could
Fuck
do
it.
that.
Jesus. That would be great.
So I guess I'll start off with a fun fact. This is probably one that actually I'm surprised we didn't say this more as we were talking about the movie. But A was spoken 174 times in this movie. I guess it's worn out. That's probably
Yeah.
I didn't bring it up.
It was definitely exaggerated for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised it was that little.
174.
Yeah, because they would be like, it's a good
it's-
movie.
You're right, because I think what was the one we just did with the with fuck, and it was like 270
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
It was like 200 plus, right?
Yeah.
For fuck, and it seems like A is way more used, but I guess not. So who else got a fun fact here?
Do you know where the Canadian phrase hoser comes from?
Well, yeah, we talked about that earlier. So what do you
Why don't
got?
you tell us what you think?
Oh wait, did you guys already use that for like
No.
people that hose off the ice rinks?
Well, I have something like that, but mine has a little bit of a different twist. That's what we were
Okay.
talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's from allegedly from a 1981 article in the Toronto Star describing Moranis and Thomas's characters as hosers, people that would ice down
Right.
an ice rink or hose down.
That's basically what I had read on, but it said that it was a term that back in the day before Zambonis, the losing team would have to go out and hose the ice down because
So
they
they're
didn't
big
have
losers.
So you're a loser, you hose or go out
Yeah,
and hose
you
the ice
hoser.
down. So whether or not that's true, it couldn't be substantiated. And then another claim was that it was dated from the 30s, and it was a word to describe thieves who would use the hose to siphon gas out of cars, like as thieves and stuff. So, but none of that, neither one of those could be proven. This is much like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. That
You don't know
it's
what
just
it
what
is.
you interpret or
Okay.
whatever. Yeah. You got any fun facts, Tim, on this
I've been throwing out my fun facts as we went.
as we went along? But nothing that we missed. Can you think of anyone we
Trying to say
missed?
the movie was no fun. And there was
Yeah.
no facts.
This is this is probably my favorite part of the movie is like the fun facts, thinking about the stuff that,
I saw the Queen of England was present at the trial.
Yeah, that's what.
Indeed. Was that the prime minister to the
To the left.
I would
stage
assume
right?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim,
Probably a Trudeau.
yeah, he gave me a lesson on that because I was like, "Why is the Queen up there?" I wasn't even really aware that.
Part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah,
Part of the
I know-
They
Commonwealth.
own it.
And he was saying about Australia as well.
Yep.
And they're going through some stuff now. How about the sequel to this film? Did you guys hear anything about that?
There was supposed to be one in 1999.
Yeah,
They're going to party.
right. And there were ties that Dan Aykroyd was tied to it, and
Damn Canadians everywhere.
yeah,
A lot of the funny people in the United States are all Canadians.
a lot of the funny people in the United States are all Canadians.
They're all
Like
Canadians.
what? Ryan Reynolds?
Is he Canadian?
yeah, there's a lot of actors in the U.S. that people are like, yeah, they're pretty cool actors, but they're all from Canada. So how cool are they?
Well, John
Really?
Candy was right,
Yeah.
and Moranis, Martin Short.
Yep.
He was on SCTV. A lot of these guys from Second City. Now, you talked about that earlier with Second City in Chicago. So, did they have a Chicago-based Second City as well?
So Second City was based in Chicago. That's why it was called Second City.
Oh,
As New York would be considered the first.
the first city.
Yep.
So, how did it end up with Canada then in SCTV?
Because
that's
Chicago is, I mean, you can,
it's close.
You know how you can
Proximity.
see Russia from Alaska?
Right.
You can see Canada from Chicago.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so I got you. Because at SCTV, I never knew that stood for Second City TV. I've always heard like comedians being interviewed said, "Oh, when you did stuff at Second
A lot of
City."
people went through SCTV.
Yeah.
Or Second City, should just say Second City, not even Second City TV.
Right.
Do you guys remember the cartoon?
No.
They said, the Mackenzies eventually returned an animated cartoon and Fox in 2008. The animated adventure was called Doug and Bob Mackenzie, and the show eventually went for 10 episodes, and they used their voice. They were the same voices, and it never really made it. I've never seen it. I've never seen an episode. So.
I've never. Even
No, I don't think it was the same voices. It was one of them came back to do the voice, and the other one was voiced.
Oh, only Thomas returned to voice Doug.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
somebody else covered the voice, did an imitation voice.
Actor
of-
Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier
Yes.
did the voice
Full
for Rick
House.
Moranis.
Who was married to Alanis Morissette.
Who gets mad when you talk about the Olsen twins?
oh,
Interesting.
for real.
Now, Elizabeth Olsen.
Who's that? Their younger sister.
Yeah, the younger one that's in like everything. She was in she did the Marvel what was that called? But anyway,
Avengers.
she was in Avengers. She did a lot of stuff. She's good.
So the vehicles they use, like the police vehicles and the emergency vehicles, were Toronto-based squad cars and stuff like that. And he made a good point. We were talking; they were yellow. So what color
I
are
would
the
have been
cabs?
very confused if I was driving in Canada and saw a yellow cab chasing me with police lights on.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't think I
would.
would have pulled over.
Yeah.
I'd have been suspicious.
Yeah, that was kind of odd.
It begs the question, what color are the cabs in Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't they have like the weird, like the policia? Don't they have like the?
That might be
They
Italy.
don't do policia.
Yeah.
Wait, that's Poland. I don't know. Like it's one of them.
It's one of them.
Mexico's definitely
Poland,
got the policia.
It's a different siren. So I
It's a
wouldn't know what to do.
two-tone. It's a two-tone jobby. It was the same in Germany. That's all you heard was that two-tone jobby running up and down
Yeah,
the
those
streets.
are weird.
Yeah, I usually know when I'm watching like a show on Netflix and you start it, and if you hear the police,
It's very
sirens,
European.
you know it's not a U.S. based
Yeah.
show. And then the mouths are off if it's like in another country.
Hello.
Yeah, when they try to overdub it, it's like really bad shit.
Yeah,
You can't
I
watch
don't
it.
know
Is
what
this a
you're talking
1970s kung
about.
fu movie?
Yeah.
Did you guys know this was like supposed to be loosely based on Hamlet?
Yeah, I read that.
Which
The
Had no
characters.
idea.
Yeah.
and- yeah.
and I guess the castle in Hamlet was called Elsinore. So that's
Huh.
why. And then the Herod,
Loosely based.
yeah, it was loosely based.
Really loosely.
Yeah. Yeah, the name Claudius is in Hamlet. In this, it was Claude, and that whole thing with the father murdered by her uncle and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So, yeah, loosely based. The "If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you" was improvised among many other lines in this movie. So there was a lot of improvisation, and like we talked about earlier, Max von Sydow was in
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon, yeah. Which I would have never connected.
Flash.
I mean, not really. Not.
You guys remember that?
Yeah,
course.
Flash. Oh, yeah, that one. The vehicle driving off, we were talking about how far it was 175 foot, or no, through the air about 40 feet for about 175 feet.
That was like
before it
National
landed.
Lampoon's
Wow.
Vacation.
Yeah, that was what, 50 feet? Is that what he
50
said? Or
feet.
50 yards, he said.
50 yards, yeah.
50 yards. Yeah.
No, it's about 150
50
feet.
feet, yeah. So they missed it, or they went over it by 25 feet.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's close. It's
Yeah,
close.
very close. So I guess that's it for fun facts. You guys have anything else we missed?
Oh, no, this was more fun than any one person should have. I've got no further anything to add to this.
I'll say that you guys thought that I was like a big fan of this movie, and I haven't watched it in 20, 25 years. And watching it again, and I wasn't particularly looking forward to it, but I thought, okay, it's been a long time. I'll watch it. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. Watching it again this long after. And I think you have to go, I don't think this is a movie you watch with your wife.
No.
Most wives are not going to enjoy it. Like, they
I know some-
might be able to watch a Spaceballs, but even that's pushing it. It's that kind of dumb humor that I think you have to have that particular sense of humor to enjoy. But going into it knowing it was going to be a stupid movie, if you're trying to watch a serious movie and you watch this, I think you'll be upset.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, my wife lasted about 10 minutes. She's like, "Oh, you can put it on if you got to watch it." And then she was like, I think I'm going to watch something else. Like, she was not having it.
I thought you were going to say you lasted 10 minutes. It's like, you
Nah,
stud.
I'm lying. That'd be lying. Yeah, 10 minutes could be a long
Yeah,
time.
I'm saying that's if you watch it on the clock. If you look at me like, yeah, that's right.
that's
Look
right.
at that. It's
You're
10 minutes.
welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she bailed on it. She was like, this is not very good. I'm like, well, you got to take it for what it is, like he said.
I wouldn't even have involved my wife in this movie.
Well, we were just together in the room, and I was like watching it on my phone. She's like, you can put that on if you want. So I put it on, and she was like, she regretted it, I think. But like he said, I don't think it's really it's more of a movie that, But yeah, it was on our poll. A lot of people voted on it. It was up there. So it was the next one to go. So for everybody that voted, thanks for voting on that. Continue to do that. I think we'll be back next week with So I Married an Axe Murderer, I think was the next one up.
Oh, another Canadian. That's another
that
Canadian
Canadian?
flick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
Mike Myers is so Canadian.
Yep. So we'll be back with that. Tim, thanks for hanging out.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Matt and Zap, thanks for everything. And don't forget to, like I said, vote on those movies on the poll. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Old Dirty Basement, and on TikTok at Old Dirty Basement Podcast. I guess that's it for now. So we'll catch you where?
On the flip side.
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you later.
Peace. Thanks for listening to The Vintage Cinema Review in the Old Dirty Basement. If you dig our theme music like we do, check out the Tsunami Experiment. Find them on Facebook. Their music is streaming on Spotify and Apple, and where great music is available.
You can find us at Old Dirty Basement on Facebook and Instagram, and at Old Dirty Basement Podcast on TikTok.
Peace.
We Audi 5000.